Welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 18th of June. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Pearce. Philip, it's good to be here.
Thought we'd bring the show in honour of you coming back from your overseas junket, Gary.
No,
we thought because you're used to sunny places, we'd bring the show, the first GPTV show, was not the first, from Sydney. And what a beautiful day it is here in Sydney.
It's a lovely city, isn't it, Philip? Sydney's got a lot to offer. It's a lovely city, beautiful beaches, nice weather. Lovely hilly streets.
I'm not a big rat for Sydney. I reckon it's a completely overrated city. And I think once you take yourself away from the harbour, Gary, it's. I was going to use a word with something in front of whole, but ultimately I think it's a completely overrated city. Melbourne is the #1 city of the world, and I love being here.
It's a hit. Sydney a hit.
So back we are now in Melbourne.
Let's
talk about
a hit hole. Is that what you say? It's a hit.
Let's talk about the week that was, because lots has been happening while I've been working hard. You were, and we'll just do a quick flick to where you were, Gary.
Well, I've been away, as you know, Philip, doing a study tour in San Francisco, and hopefully we've got some images of the Golden Gate Bridge up behind us, Philip. But San Francisco, beautiful city, cold. Oscar Wilde once said that the coldest winter he ever had was a summer in San Francisco. I don't know if you know that line.
There we go.
But it was very cool, very cold. A lot of very sad homeless people there, Philip, in San Francisco.
Gary,
but a beautiful city.
This is an upbeat show. It's a show about real estate.
Well, I did visit a lot of different real estate companies.
So hang on a second. You were in San Francisco for a study tour.
With about 25 real estate agents.
Could you tell me what was Cabo in Mexico about?
Well, that was a conference, Philip. Funny you mentioned Cabo, but once we went to San Francisco, we had to have a debrief somewhere, and it got a bit too cold in San Francisco. So we went to Cabo for a debrief for the Property Profile Conference, and Jeremy Rosens was there, and Leon Guzenfitter was there, and Leo Sam was there, and Darren Crongo was there.
So
where were you?
The viewers are currently thinking.
We're all working hard.
And I say this with due respect, of course, to our Mexican viewers, because we do know that this show has gone international. And if you're living in Mexico and watching the show at the moment, please don't take offence at what I'm going to say. But what can the Mexicans teach Melbourneites about auctioning real estate?
Cactus. They can teach us about cactus. They can tell us how to add cactus to the garden will increase your prices. One of the things I learned.
Tell me about the food. How was the food?
Food was fantastic, Phil.
How can a taco be fantastic?
Oh, no. But
guacamole and corn chips be fantastic.
What I love about Mexicans is that they're very resourceful, you see. So they'll get 2 dishes, but they'll give you 50 ways of having it. So you can have a guaco and salsa, and then you can have the, what's the other, sour cream. You can have it with soft shell, hard shell, tacos, taquitos, without any of the above, hard, it's fantastic.
So anyway, and again, without upsetting our Mexican viewers, was there Coke everywhere you went? And I'm not talking about the fizzy variety, but did you walk out into the streets and there was just like white powder? It was like a storm of white powder?
It was hard to walk through it. You actually need to take a shovel to get your way through, like a snowstorm with all the Coke. Well, interestingly, because I did also have, as you know, my mother-in-law came, and I don't get to do mother-in-law jokes because I've got a good mother-in-law.
So it was a study tour with your mother-in-law.
And my daughter came.
And your daughter now. So your daughter and your mother-in-law went on a real estate study tour and to a conference in Cabo. This is not going to get past the tax.
No, well, their part was paid separately, Philip. You'll be happy to know. And it was a fortune, by the way.
I will be checking with Mark.
You can check that with the accountant. But actually, on the way in, somebody said, well, you'll be interested in one of the stats about Cabo. Cabo has a reputation. I said, oh, that's good. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people. No, it has a reputation that it has the highest amount of murders anywhere in the world.
In Cabo, yeah. Great tourist destination. So, this is not
very safe.
This is not a
travel
show.
Back area.
And then tell me, somebody said they saw you in Vegas. So you've gone from San Francisco to Cabo to Vegas.
Look, we couldn't get a direct flight back from Cabo. That was the thing, Phil. So we could only get one through Vegas.
Because everybody goes to Australia from Mexico via Las Vegas.
You have to do that, Phil. It's just,
if there's travel agents watching this show, could you find out, is there a longer way of getting from Mexico?
It was the cheapest way back, Phil. That was the thing.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, we had to stay over a little bit because we couldn't get a flight straight out. Now, let's just talk about what's going on in real estate, Phil, because, look, I leave for one weekend.
There's been some big news.
Well, hang on, I go away for one weekend, and what's happened to the auction results? You're not putting up towers because it wasn't as good as usual.
I'm about to, while you're talking, I just want to deliver to the viewers. This is page 3 of the Australian Financial Review.
Can we flash it up on the screen?
Yesterday. I'm not sure we can get permission for it, but let's just assume we can. Auctions deliver strongest results in more than a year. So there's a whole article about how nationally last weekend was a really strong weekend in Melbourne real estate, which did coincide with you being away. And listen to this. Listen to this paragraph, Gary. CoreLogic analyst Kevin Brogan said clearance rates in the mid to high 60% usually indicated the market was approaching equilibrium, a point also made by other commentators. So I think we're here, viewers, we're making the prediction today. It's game on. The property market is back. Do I necessarily mean it's about to boom? No, I don't. But I reckon people will look back on the winter of 2019 and say that was the time to buy.
That was the buy time.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened with us then? Come on, I'm away for one weekend, and our no towers, no boasting, because our clearance rates were not up to scratch. And it just goes to show, I give you the ship. I say, here's the wheel, Phil. Just go into calm waters and steer it safely, and look at what you do.
Well, Gary, once again we had a great national clearance race right across the national.
You'll take credit for that.
Right across the national capitals. The industry clearance rate is now in the mid-60s,
yes, it is.
And that will be downgraded to the early 60s. But this is clearly now a market in equilibrium.
Yep.
And when a market, Gary, I'll say it again, when a market has fallen, when it goes to equilibrium, there's really only one way from there, and it's
good politicians avoid answering the questions directly. So I'm not going to ask you a third time, Phil. But let's just talk a little bit about what did happen, because we did have some good results. And let's also talk about the year to date, because we've been running between sort of 70 and 85%, which has been way ahead. But last weekend clearance rates, the number wasn't fantastic. In fact, it was a bit.
We had a great Sunday.
Smelly.
Actually, this is how statistics can be manipulated. I could say to you, Gary, that our Sunday results, we sold 75% of our properties
and Saturday
on
never
Sunday.
Happened.
Yeah,
Saturday never
just forget Saturday.
Although
Saturday
funnily enough, well, I mean, they'll all go, and I'm not worried about that. But it's funny that if you look at a price range, it's the stuff that's that went off. There was a sweet spot, kind of between 1.4 and $2 million.
Yep.
Tended to be pretty active on the weekend.
Had
some great results.
We
had a result, Philip, in Gardeners Road in Bentley East. You auctioned that. Tell us a little about
Gary,
that one.
What a great auction. That was street,
even if you don't mind saying so yourself.
that was street theatre at its best. We had a good-sized crowd, probably about 100 people. The coffee van was pumping out coffees because they stayed there right through the auction, which is somewhat unusual.
I love our coffee van people. We don't give them enough credit, do we?
We don't. In fact, we should. We at some stage will bring them all in on the show, Gary.
It's a bit of a Kingston brains
trust,
because you did get the boys and put it together.
We do love our coffee, Gary,
job.
but moving back to Gardeners Road in Bentley, that was a lovely story because Leo Samuel, our partner in our Carnegie office, helped them buy the block of land 20 years ago.
Right.
These people went on to build a house, brought some children up, moved to another house, and there we were, Leo selling for these people that had become friends.
Isn't that great?
And it's just a lovely story.
That's what real estate agents should be doing, Phil. That's what real estate's about.
I think that's what I love most about this business.
I'd agree with you.
As we get older,
not often,
and people say, what is the joy of getting older? Well, in real estate, one of the joys of getting older is that you start to deal with multi-generations.
You do.
We're starting to sell for the children of people that we've sold for.
The grandchildren.
Now, the children of the children of the children, which is
what does that say about us?
Well, I know it says a lot about you, Gary. You are looking very grey on your return.
Not at all.
I've got to tell you should get back to the hairdresser and get them to put that black colour in it that you normally do.
I never do, Phil, but I want to talk about that whole personal grooming thing. Because how far do you go? I mean, in America, there were some beautifully groomed people and men, and you're a bit of a groomed person. And, I found that I was away, and someone said your toenails very, very, very long, and I say how much
yours?
One of my toenails got a bit.
You are a repulsive man. Let's talk about some of the.
How much grooming do you do? I mean, do you like get your back shaved, for example, or your chest? You wax your chest. Let's find out. I want to know the A to Z of your grooming.
No,
come on, let's talk about it.
We're not going to discuss
because I had my daughter running around plucking hairs out of my nose. For example,
a shout out to Susie, who is a watcher of this show. Have you noticed something different about my outfit today, Gary? Well, you wouldn't notice. I'm wearing a cardigan because it's quite cold outside. Well, it is. It's a vesty cardigan.
A vesty.
And a shout out to Susie for bringing this to my attention. And if you want to get these cardigans, Suit Supply.
Do you reckon that's
online?
Do you reckon that's a good look?
Well, a lot of people say it is, Gary, but we won't be looking to you for any advice other than real estate, which is my segue to come back to Sunday.
Have you got makeup on
Sunday?
Right now?
No, I haven't got makeup on. I have not got makeup on. Although I've got this thing that I put into my moisturiser, which is really.
I want some viewer feedback on this. How much personal grooming should men do? I just wouldn't mind
a lot more than you do.
Maybe a lot less than you do.
Can we get back to property, Gary?
Hey, hang on. No, we're going to get off track because you talked about viewers, and how about Yvonne? Yvonne sent in some feedback to us, so let's do some viewer feedback. What do Yvonne have to say?
I love this.
Yvonne's short and to the point.
Yeah, this is an email from Yvonne, which was just saying, don't like the videos. Can you just send me details of properties available?
Thanks, Yvonne.
Nothing like positive viewer feedback.
Thanks for
Sunday Gary.
Canberra, yep.
We had a great auction in Lempriere
Yeah,
Avenue.
I jumped off the plane, came straight over Lempriere Avenue.
What an
Phil.
incredible street Lempriere Avenue is, viewers,
It's a
because
beauty, isn't
if you drive down Lempriere, first of all, it's a no-through road which ends at the Green Meadows Park.
Got those coachman's lights, Phil.
Not
Power
only this,
underground.
all of the power lines are underneath.
You know, it's funny, when my kids were sort of teenage, I think I might have said this on the show
Yeah,
a
you
few weeks
did,
ago,
Gary.
but that you wouldn't have the same people watching.
Together with your unkempt look,
Yes,
you're starting to forget
I'm
what you
starting to
said
forget a
from
little
week
bit.
to week.
Dementia's a sad thing. Phil.
Yeah, so
And
tell us the
starting-
story.
What was I talking about? I said to them, if you want to know what great real estate is, come down the street. And I walked down, and it's like this magical, whimsical, special kind of kingdom, isn't it? Like
There is a
special-
heritage overlay on this street,
special
which
little,
means that the street is very much intact from a streetscape point of view.
Yep.
Beautiful tree canopy and no overhead power lines. And the funny thing about overhead power lines, you don't notice them until somebody points them out
Exactly.
or shows you a street where they're not there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you realise they're actually quite visually visually polluting.
How about in Bangkok, place like that, where you see the overhead power?
no,
You got
Vietnam's the worst.
Everywhere. It's,
Yeah.
Phil, Norwood Road sold.
Yes,
well
it did,
done.
Gary.
Did you
Our
get that
price
one
is
right?
undisclosed,
It is.
but that
as
was
is Lempriere, I think.
Yeah, undisclosed there, but viewers, if you did want to have a look at the SOIs online, you'll see that we sold both of those properties at the top end of the SOI.
For the layman.
Statement of information, which is the go-to part when anybody searches online, Gary.
Yep.
Have a look at the photos, and then they go straight to the statement of information, which is, interestingly enough, because the price ranges are now available on every single property in Victoria, it's sped the consumer's ability to work out which properties they're looking at. In the old days, they had to go, oh, I like those photos. Oh, I've now got to ring the real estate agent. I've got to send them an email.
It'll be between $200,000 and $4 million, somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
There was all those sort of crazy quoting practices, Philip, but it's all settled down. 145 Bamber Road, did we talk about that? I don't think we did.
Competitive auction there. Is the price disclosed there or undisclosed?
It is not undisclosed, Philip. Sold for $1,565,000.
So interesting, and this is one of the reasons that we're calling the market
How many bidders
being
we have?
back. We had four
3 or 4
bidders.
bidders, I think, yeah.
Two parties didn't get a chance to do anything because it moved pretty quickly. But we had an SOI there, I think, of 1.3 to 1.43, and we declared it on the market. Just went off like a rocket ship. Went to $1,560,000. Lovely home and worth the money. But when you're starting to get multiple bidders at auctions in that price range, clearly something's going on. So this is not just us talking up the market.
Phil, some football news on the weekend. I heard all about these people patrolling up and down, these behavioural officers now. I mean, it's interesting what's going on.
Feedback on this.
I mean, I heard about this, and I know that we are a real estate show, but still, we love our footy. Carlton just went down by a few points, but what is this story about people going up? I mean, I think. Look, I'll let you. I'll throw to you. Because I've got my own view on this.
Lots of talk over the weekend about this, Gary. And whilst this is not real estate related, it is societally, societally related. So there's been a lot of talk about behaviour from football fans at the football, and now the AFL has brought in behavioural officers to actually evict people or to counsel them or to tell them to tone down their behaviour.
Imagine trying to counsel a toothless Collingwood, drunk toothless Collingwood supporter that's going off crazy because they just had a free kick.
I haven't read it yet, but Joffa actually wrote an article published in yesterday's Age newspaper.
One of his many published articles in business manuals and all sorts of science magazines.
There's probably we should not judge because Joffa may well have a master's degrees in communication and journalism. But there's been a lot of talk about it, Gary. Is this society moving too far to the politically correct?
I'll tell you one of the things that was interesting when I was away. I went San Francisco, I'm on a trolley car, right? And they've got these steps outside the trolley car. You just hang on to the bar, right? You're swinging off there. And I'm thinking, this could never happen in Melbourne. It could, I mean, Melbourne has, in my opinion, Melbourne has just gone too far. They'll take one person that will do something stupid and they'll make laws around it for everybody that's normal. I think Melbourne's gone too far. If
you see some of the footage of the Carlton Bulldogs game, you see these behavioural officers walking up and down the aisle. And I've got to tell you, it did look a bit overdone, although I reckon that was just the camera probably on boomerang.
It's
but ultimately, I've got to tell you.
And I think Australians by nature don't like authorities. I think we don't like authority. We
don't
like being told what to do in this country.
I had to have a chat with my son Jacob, who is a passionate football
He is.
supporter.
He is.
And he actually knows a lot
Long-suffering.
about the game. So he actually understands the nuances of the game.
Well, he was a good footballer.
Yeah, well, he
He
was.
was a good little footballer.
So he understands the game, and he gets really passionate at the football.
yeah.
And I had to chat with him a couple of weeks ago, and I
you
said,
wanna
you know
get
what?
passionate at
Well,
football.
you do,
Yeah.
but I had to have a chat and say, you know what would the experience of be from the person that's sitting around you, or the young family that's sitting around?
the person
and he doesn't
sitting-
swear
yeah.
to the best of my knowledge,
No,
but he does get
he's got to
carried
stop
away.
throwing his beer on the opposite team sitting in front of him too. That's not a good look, Philip. He learnt that from your father and for you.
Doesn't
Yeah.
happen in the members
you.
of the
Oh,
MCG,
no,
Gary.
no.
Not a lot happens there.
Sometimes
Don't
they
get-
scream and a bit of
don't get me
caviar
started.
might come out.
Gary,
of their
did
teeth.
you seriously? I want 2 takeaways
Yep.
from the conference because I
Hey.
bagged your conference.
Yeah, well, I've
but
got
but
a whole-
ultimately, as I've paid for half of your trip,
did indeed,
give
yeah.
me 2 takeaways. What are we doing? Is there anything happening out there in the wide world that we're not doing?
I'll tell you what's interesting in San Francisco, Philip, is that there's a business there that buys houses. So you
Yep.
can ring up as a vendor and you say, I'm thinking of selling.
Yep.
And this company will come and say, we'll buy
This
a
is
house.
Zillow.
No, it's not Zillow. This is called Open House, Philip.
Okay.
An open house will come and buy your house. So
Yes.
there's no agent, but they'll charge you 7% commission.
Yep.
There's a commission there at 6%.
Yep.
Note vendors, 6%. We'd be very happy with that as a commission rate. But 7%, and they'll come and buy it, and then they'll go and resell it.
Yep.
But it's not about buying it cheap and selling it high. It's just about buying it at reasonable market value, improving a little bit, and then selling it at reasonable market value. There's no big stamp duty there.
Yes.
And they're doing 3,000 deals a month. Philip,
Yep,
All right.
yep,
So
yep.
I'm saying, so I put my hand up.
36,000
in this
homes
session.
a
I
year.
put my hand up in the session. I said, look, you're not making any money on the sale. Can I ask you why you're doing this?
Yep.
Because
Community service.
I can't see where there's any profit. And
Yep.
they said, and the guy just said, oh, profit? No, we're a startup. It's not about profit. So anyway, I left confused because
Okay,
I
so-
understand that you sell a house and you actually make some money for the service you
So what you've brought back to our business is that profit's not important.
Yeah,
Yep.
confusion.
Next.
No, it's all about the volume, Philip.
Yes.
And of course, they're going to get taken over by
Yeah.
somebody like who does insurance or someone like that.
Okay.
And that's the big place. So San Francisco. Look, the other thing is, I've got to say, in Australia, I think we're ahead. Australia way. Notwithstanding that we get told what to do at football these days, I think that in Australia we do it better. And I'll tell you one of the things, the big difference is that you pay 6% on your.
I'm sorry I asked this question.
You pay 6% commission in America, Philip.
Like,
But
you know,
here-
viewers, go and go to the toilet, have
Yeah.
a cup of tea.
Here,
it'll still be
traditionally,
going.
it's the vendor that will subsidise the marketing, Philip, and that's why our marketing is so good and so innovative. And in America, the marketing is nowhere near as good as we are. So I think what I did learn over there, Philip, is that we do things better in Australia. than they do in
Complacency
America.
has set in,
No, not
Gary. You've gone
complacency.
away on a trip and come back and said, there's nothing for us
No,
to learn.
I've got some recommendations, but
I
they're,
think
they're
clearly,
too
I
long-winded.
think I'd clearly better go on the next conference. Viewers, this has been very long-winded. I'm sorry, Gary's back. We've got lots to catch up on.
we have.
Clearly, we've been
haven't
around
talked.
the world at our new, by the way, our new
Video
video
producer. Yeah,
producing
producers, yeah.
setup here, which is very exciting.
It sure is.
Viewers, look forward to having a chat with you next week. We will try and make sure that we contain the length of episode next week,
Hey,
Gary.
Phil, on Thursday we've got the preview of the properties coming up this week. So don't forget, if you
Yeah.
want to see what's coming up this week, you can watch on Thursday, Phil. But that's a big wrap on GPTV.
Gary, great to have you back.
Good to be back.
Great to no, it's genuinely great to have you
Thank
back.
you. It's
Great to have you back.
And happy birthday to Daniel. It was his birthday yesterday. My
Yesterday,
son,
and
Daniel's son. Yeah.
again, thank you, viewers, for all of the overwhelming response I had to my birthday last
Yeah,
week.
did you get
Thank
any
you.
presents? Oh, how about you got an email from Don? He said that, I should get you a beautiful present, but I couldn't see him bringing anything to the table, could you? But thanks for watching,
Thanks,
Don.
Tom.
Anyway.
Thanks for watching. Viewers, lovely to have you in our new
Environment here.
New environment, and we'll show you more about this in next week's edition. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great
I'm
week.
Gary Peer. We'll see you Thursday and again next week. Bye now.